those questions ready. Oh man, 10 seconds. Welcome to Solid Saturday.
Oh my God, Ty. Oh my God.
It's a Solid Saturday, Dan. How you doing today?
Oh my God. I put week 6 highlights in there. It's week 7, right? It's not just Solid Saturday. It's She's All That Saturday. Come on.
Get your sixpence, none the richer fired up here. Week 7, huh? We made it.
We made it week 7. So it's sort of halfway-ish because a number of teams have had bye weeks. There's the week 7 graphic. We need questions. My name is Dan. His name is Ty. Ty, you're a better host than I am. I'm here for the looks. I'm here for the charm. And I'm here for B- parenting advice and B+ wagering advice. I don't know. Where do we stand? How you feel?
B+ is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence for your wagering advice.
You know,
likewise for me. I'm not going to act like I'm any kind of football soothsayer.
I raised Clemson doubt in the preseason, and early on in the season, I say, look, Clemson might just be a below average, like pseudo power, and you were like, they're gonna pick it up. Have they picked it up?
Look, you were right. You were right. You were right.
I'm just taking that. That's the only credit I want. I doubt Iowa, and I'm wrong all the time about Iowa, so it's fine.
We need to take the victories wherever we can find them, 100%. Right? We are two dum-dums when it comes to college football. We're super fans, just like all y'all who are watching along with us on this Saturday morning. Hello and welcome. I'm Ty. That guy over there is Dan Rubenstein. We do a podcast called The Solid Verbal. This is what we call the Solid Saturday. It's a live stream. We're going to be with you until about noontime when the early slate of games kick off. The way this here live stream works, we're going to go through each of the 3 blocks of games. So the early block, the mid-afternoon block, the late block. We're going to tell you what games are meaningful, and then we're going to rank them on a scale of 1 to 5. What, Dan?
Jacked Fowlers. Obviously, we celebrate the fact that Chris Fowler is unusually jacked for like a 58-year-old, and I applaud his confidence in showing his workout routines and everything like that. So, look, we applaud him. You know, if it's a lame window, maybe it's just one. Maybe it's just one jacked Fowler. I don't know. If it's a superb window, or if you have confidence that a window could potentially be superb, maybe it's 5 jacked Fowlers, 5 out of 5. So this is how we approach things. We know we're gonna talk about various windows and what we think we'll be watching, what we think people should be watching, what might sneak up on people, and go from there. If you have any wagering advice, I know that's a lens through which you view the sport. Ty, you're going to jump in. I know that.
I will jump in. I do have a question for you, though.
I'm ready.
Because I saw it pop up in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the record, you are not wearing the same shirt.
No, this seems to fit me fine, right?
Yours fits. Mine didn't.
I don't know if you got a schmedium. I don't know if you found like the Malkovich floor of t-shirts, just sort of the not quite a small, not quite a medium. I don't know if somebody accidentally dried it on like some sort of setting that you weren't aware of. So here we are.
So here's the deal, one and all. We are the Solid Verbal.
This was to show you up, is what I'm saying.
To show me up, that's fine.
Yeah.
Solidverbal.com is the website. If you go there, you can find out all the details on our podcast. If you're new to the podcast, some of you may be, most of you, my guess is, are not, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Please do subscribe to the show and listen to our 3 episodes that we're putting out right now on any given week.
Mm-hmm.
You can also go to solidverbal.com and get some of that wagering advice from you and our friend Jeff Schwartz on a little podcast we like to call the Big Boy Bet Show.
Of course.
You can click at the very top and you can see it there. I would also say go on out to solidverbal.com and click on articles. If you're on articles, you can get to the Solid Slate, which we're going to be talking through From a higher level here on this live stream, but Connor Mile puts together a great run through. He designs your Saturday, as I think he phrased it this week. He does a great job putting that utility together. Earlier in the weeks, Travis May writes something called Sneaky Stats, and this is where he takes a look back at the week that was, takes a look ahead at the week that will be, and just pulls out some interesting facts, some nuggets, right, that you might find interesting that will ultimately, in some way, shape, or form, influence the course of the week. And then finally, the article that went up yesterday is How to Solve Your Quarterback Controversy, Even If You Don't Have One, by Bradley Hohulin, who will be joining us from the press box at the Indiana-Michigan State game a little bit later on in this broadcast. We're going to see if we can pull him in.
Is it a basketball game?
I'm not sure. We're going to have to get some clarity from him on where we're at there.
Oh, poor Indiana. Okay. Do we want to talk windows? Do we want to get into why we're calling it She's All That Saturday? What do you want?
Why don't you describe She's All That Saturday and
okay.
Play some of the music. Thank you. It's
classic
instructive.
Turn of the century film. She's All That. It was centered in the fact that Freddie Prinze Jr. could make Rachel Lee Cook, Lainey Boggs popular. The fact that it was always a beautiful woman. She was always a beautiful woman, even though she was wearing overalls and glasses, and then she put on some more makeup and a nice dress. I'm just saying, at first glance, there's no big-time haymaker headliners to Week 7, but I think across the board, I think the week is terrific. I think it's a She's All That Saturday. So that's okay. The theme I went with. That's the theme we went with. Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with it. No, my initial thought was Silent But Deadly Saturday.
Right.
Yours is a little bit more family friendly.
I suppose so. Do we want to get into windows? Do you want to get into specific things?
Do windows. No, I want to talk about windows. Let's just dive in here.
Let's get in.
What do we got?
I don't know. I don't know why I made that. I don't know why I made that graphic, but here we are. All right. This is the early window, as we all know. Ty, we have Lainey Boggs in there. It's sort of looking confused, but also a little bit excited. We've got
a little bit excited, yeah.
Yeah, UCF without a starting quarterback taking on one of the best defenses in the country in Cincinnati. What interests you? That's at the top for me, but give me some thoughts.
Well, I mean, let's just run through it real quick. UCF, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Texas, Auburn, Arkansas, Florida, LSU, Nebraska at Minnesota. In order from top to bottom, the UCF Cincinnati game, I don't know how UCF hangs with Cincinnati because they're just struggling now since Dylan Gabriel got hurt. The Oklahoma State Texas game is intriguing to me because I can't figure out Oklahoma State, nor can I figure out Texas. It's two teams that I've just had trouble trying to predict all season long. Auburn, Arkansas. Auburn falls into that strange territory this year where they're about a 3.5, 4.5, 5-point dog and or favorite against most of the teams that they're playing.
Yeah.
And in pretty much all cases, it never feels right. Put that back up. I'm not done with that.
Oh, you want it back up? Okay.
I need that back up.
You need to see the visual. Sorry.
I need the visual. Florida at LSU. I think LSU's a tire fire right now. And I'm concerned about which direction this thing's going. They had another injury this week with Eli Ricks going down for the year. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. And then finally, last but not least, the Nebraska-Minnesota game. I checked this morning. The point spread is something like 4.5 in favor of Nebraska on the road. Minnesota is bad. They are really bad. And I think we are in relative agreement here that Nebraska is not a bad team at all. They've got a good defense. I'm curious as to why that line is so low.
I think we have both teams with suspect offenses. Actually, Minnesota's defense is okay. Their offense has been the real issue this year. Obviously, losing to Bowling Green and scoring 10 points, but they beat Purdue 20-13. That was a nice step forward. Purdue probably a top 50-ish type team, somewhere in there. What do you think? Like, I think that's a nice enough 50? Bounce back. Top 55 with SP plus, they're 47.
Okay,
whatever you believe that in terms of accuracy to be. I think it's a terrific morning slate. I'm looking forward to Oklahoma State, Texas for sure, because you have the sort of immovable object in the Oklahoma State defense against a pretty aggressive attacking Texas offense, especially early on in games. I don't know how you feel about that game with further thought after our Wednesday preview show, but I think I'm on Texas a little less than I felt in the show, but I still like them just because Oklahoma State is still a wild card. They have as good a defense that exists probably in the Big 12, and so that's something that Texas hasn't really reckoned with. I can't wait to watch it. I think it's going to be great. Last year's game was a complete mess in the best possible way. So I'm excited for hopefully another chaotic bit of entertainment there.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Dan. What I would say about that Oklahoma State game, one other way that you can bet it, that I did bet it. The point spread, I think, came down to 3. I was just checking before we hit live here. 3 in favor of Texas at home.
Yeah.
I kind of like Oklahoma State plus, I think it was 2.5 or 3 in the first half. Because after that Red River shootout loss, I think there's a distinct possibility that Texas comes out flat. Sure. Even though they're at home, there's no way you're up to the same degree, just from a mental standpoint, against Oklahoma State the way you would be against your rival in Oklahoma. So I think that's the play in the game.
That's interesting.
I would go first half plus the points on Oklahoma State.
What do you give the window with regard to Jack Fowler's, the early window?
I would say probably.
Come on, be honest. Come on, this is a show about honesty.
3.
All right, I think I'm right there with you. I think 3 Jack Fowlers is totally fair. We did have a question in the comments, by the way. We're going to get to the questions and comments momentarily, but this one interested me to such a crazy degree. Did you wake up with your hair like that, or did you?
Like what? What's wrong with my hair?
I don't think anything's wrong with your hair. I think Ty's hair is always like that, but somebody called it a side fro.
I don't have a side fro. I need a haircut is what's wrong. That's what's wrong. There is no side fro.
You got a great head of hair. It always looks terrific to me, but I've never heard the term side fro.
No, it's not. Maybe it's just a lighting thing, but we're good. I appreciate this though. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Any other games in that early window that are not listed there, you can take a moment to bring them up if you'd like, that are intriguing to you, that you're like, well, look, this is not going to be on my TV at first, but I'm monitoring.
I mean, Oklahoma State and Texas is really the one,
of course,
I think, in that window that warrants the most attention. You didn't mention Michigan State, Indiana, which we will talk about.
We are going to go to the press
in a little bit. Otherwise, I think this weekend is highlighted by, as we do on the show, where you can do windows of opportunity.
Yeah.
The time on a college football Saturday when you can go out and do like normal person things. I think this weekend's, outside of being She's All That Saturday,
of course,
one of the selling points. Thank you. One of this weekend's selling points is truly the fact that you don't necessarily need to be nestled in front of your TV all weekend. You can pick the games that you think are meaningful to you. And so I'll be honest, I'm going to have a hard time going above 4 jacked Fowlers, maybe even above like 3 jacked Fowlers.
Interesting.
Week,
in terms of TV, I like Mateo Durant. I like the Duke offense. Fine. They're playing Virginia, who doesn't play defense. If you want something silly, just keep an eyeball down on the bottom line of whatever network you're watching. I think that could be entertaining. Just the full lack of defense from Virginia. Their games always seem to go a little bit bonkers. I'd pay attention. Do you want to go into questions and comments?
I do. What do we got coming in?
It's just a lot of people talking side fro. It's all.
There's no side fro. I don't know what we're talking about here.
Side fro.
By the way, Mama H is texting me. She's watching at home, and she says, "Rachel is gorgeous. That picture is awful, Dan."
That's a still image from She's All That.
Listen, you got to answer to Mama H.
I needed to find.
She knows how to get in touch with you, so beware.
Jason, A&M letdown versus Mizzou. I think Mizzou's not that good, but it is a situation where A&M could be in a letdown mode. I hear you. I'm with it. I don't know. I'm not buying Mizzou. Oh, we've got some spam in here. I
think I was able to remove it.
Right. The Florida LSU line seems low, Ty. If you're a full tire fire believer, I don't know what it is at this very second.
It was 10.5. It may be up to 11.5 or even 12.5. I didn't get the exact number before I hopped on.
Right.
Originally it went down. It was at
favorite. It's Florida at LSU.
It's Florida at LSU. Originally it was about 9.5, and it's kind of crept up and jumped around a little bit. I agree. I don't fully get that. Right. And I wonder, it's one of the things we talk about all the time. And I think Iowa State, by the way, falls into that category, not just this week, but some of what I'm seeing for next week as well. These teams that coming into the season, everybody was really high on.
Right.
And suddenly something goes amiss. Like Iowa State's had a ton of mistakes. They've got a loss. Like, it hasn't really gone the way that they expected. And they play Kansas. They go on by. Everybody forgets about them. LSU, I think there was a lot of optimism the way they closed out last season. It was a young team. They came in, they made some changes with their coordinators. And thus far, they've had a ton of injuries. They're kind of spiraling a little bit. And so I don't know if there's still like a propensity to hold on to some of those preconceived notions before the season. It could also be that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Sure. I mean, it's also just wild
issue.
that they're just getting beat up at the line of scrimmage every week.
Yeah. I mean, playing in Death Valley is never easy, but we've obviously seen some other. Auburn went there and snapped their own streak this year, so you can clearly go there and win. I don't have a good reason to bet LSU there. And so from that standpoint, yeah, I do feel like it's too low.
Texas is going to take it to Oklahoma State. I love it, Coy. I love it.
I like the fire, man. I like it.
I mean, if Texas does indeed take it to Oklahoma State, it will be entertaining because you get Bijan Robinson, you get Xavier Worthy. I mean, that's going to be good TV. But at the same time, I don't know. It's going to be great. Let's see. What else? Anyone? Man, more Ty hair stuff.
What is it with the hair? I don't
know. I'm just making that up.
I'm going to go
more so than ranking jacked Fowlers. If you're viewing with multiple screens, which game is your main watch? I think we agree that Texas Oklahoma State is the move there. What are your top side pieces, Ty, in that early window?
Look, I said this at the top.
Yeah.
Going out to solidverbal.com, click on articles, look for the Solid Slate Week 7. Connor does all this work. He does all this work. I think he's got Oklahoma State, Texas. I'll pull it up. He's got Oklahoma State, Texas right now as his number one game that you should put on the big screen. He breaks it down by big screen, small screen, and then what you should watch along with on your like mobile phone or
smart.
You've got a scoring app, something like that. He's got Oklahoma State, Texas on the big screen, Auburn, Arkansas on the small screen, and then 3 games that you should just watch the score for. And that would be Michigan State, Indiana, Florida, LSU, UCF, Cincinnati. So in the event one of them kind of gets close, flip on over.
Yeah.
But beware.
A lot of people, I've seen a few people in the chat in on Ski-U-Mah, in on Minnesota, because Scott Frost in close games, we've got a close line here. He is truly horrid. Truly horrid. Now, we've got the Michigan fan hoping for a solid Nebraska win so I can continue my charade that Michigan's win over them was impressive. I hear you. And I am still, my enthusiasm for Nebraska continues. Now, it's not a breakthrough win against Minnesota. It would be a very impressive win because they need to get on the board here in Big Ten play. But I'm telling you, Nebraska's going to win something. I'm just telling you now. That's all. USC and Penn State both with buys. Coincidence, James Franklin? I think not.
Franklin's he's not going to USC.
Joe, concerning the Oregon, what the hell did I watch last night? I didn't watch the game last night, Oregon against Cal, because I treasure my sleep more than I treasure watching disappointing football. And I watched an abbreviated version this morning, and it was about what I expected. I'm undefeated in making my sleep versus stay up choices. I stayed up to watch the Dodgers close out the Giants the other night. That was pretty fun. Bad call at the end there, but I'm happy with my decision as a Dodger fan. Oregon's not that good. Oregon's ranked in the top 10, and they're like as I texted you this morning, like a 22-ish ranked type team.
Yeah, I watched the game. It was one of those deals where I fell asleep on the couch and then woke up for the last quarter. And I'm like, well, I'm here.
Give me your thoughts.
I'm here now. I might as well watch this. I thought Cal was going to tie it up. Cal had every opportunity down the stretch. First off, the end of that game, if you watched it in real time, was like the end of a basketball game. It took forever. The last 2 minutes took like 45 minutes. It was crazy.
No. See?
Timeouts and penalties, just a mess. But
so what time did it end, your time?
I didn't look at the clock. It felt like it was about 2. It felt like it went on forever. Maybe it didn't go till 2, but it was probably 1:30 at least.
All I can tell you is if you are a fan of a West Coast team and you don't live on the West Coast, it is my advice that if you continually find yourself disappointed with what you're watching, don't stay up late. It hurts even more. Even if you win, even in a winning effort, even in a clunker, it clunks even harder in the middle of the night. So
Chase Garbers, man, I don't know. He had so many opportunities to put the ball in the end zone.
Right.
Some of the play calling was kind of weird. They had a chance to tie it. They really had a chance to tie it.
I did love that like all out blitz, right? Where you're just like, all right, this is a high leverage situation. we're going to make you be a steely, ice cold quarterback. And he wasn't.
Let me ask you one quick question, then we got to get to our next window.
I'm ready.
Somebody posted it here about Mario Cristobal to LSU. If Mario Cristobal left tomorrow to go to LSU, how would you feel about that? Scale of 1 to 10 jacked Fowlers, 5 being thrilled, 1 being not so thrilled.
So 5 Jack Fowlers is thrilled that Mario Cristobal has left.
Correct.
You can judge for yourself.
That's 4 Jack Fowlers for those of you listening to the audio.
After 4 years of either having Justin Herbert underperform to what we know what he is, and I think Mario Cristobal's hamstringing his offensive coordinators. I think he wants to play big, dumb, like Yeti ball. He wants to play on the ground. He wants large offensive linemen. He wants to wear teams down by the fourth quarter, and I don't think he is intent on modernizing and allowing coordinate an offensive mind to modernize the offense. I think he's got a very specific vision, which is fine. You should if you're an offensive coordinator. But if Mario Cristobal goes to LSU, they're going to recruit bonkers successfully, and they'll lose to like Mississippi State and Arkansas every year. I don't know. That's all. Those are my
next
thoughts.
Window.
All right. Next window, Ty. Let's look at the afternoon window. What do we think?
We've got Kentucky at Georgia. This is, believe it or not, the showpiece game of the weekend.
Yeah.
Point spread here is 21.5, which is a lot of points. We can talk about that. We've got Purdue, Iowa. That spread is 11.5 in favor of Iowa. We've got BYU, Baylor. Baylor favored by 4.5, 5. Pitt at Virginia Tech. That line is up to about 5.5 now in favor of Pitt, but Virginia Tech at home plus the points is interesting. I do not have a point spread nor any idea for the point spread between Fresno and Wyoming, but figures to be a fun game out west.
On the Deuce, Fox Sports 2.
On the Deuce, yeah. So I think this is also 3 jacked Fowlers for me.
3?
I think it's a 3 for me.
Okay. Why 3? I have it at 2.
Yeah, I don't want to be cruel to the slot.
Right.
But I'm just not. There are some interesting games like Kentucky, Georgia. I want to watch that because I need to see how Kentucky performs against a defense like Georgia, right? Like we're both really curious about that. I think we have some assumptions for how it's going to go.
Spoilers?
we have some assumptions for how it's going to go for Will Levis, but we don't know for sure.
I got a screener of this game last night and watched it. So if you want me to spoil it, I'm not here to spoil things. I know we have people who like, living in the moment and watching it, but yeah.
But that's interesting to me. And BYU Baylor, we've been calling it the Jeff Grimes Bowl, which of course has no appeal to anyone outside of BYU and Baylor. But there's not a lot of high level anything there that is really moving the needle for me. So I can't go higher than 3. That's just how I feel. Sorry.
All right. I mean, the fact that Baylor is clearly starting the best Gary in college football at quarterback, the clear best Gary, and the recent Gary history. When you have Gary, what was Rutgers? It was Nova. Was that a Gary?
That was a Gary Nova. It wasn't Gary.
Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm 2 Jack Fowlers there. You want to go to some? Do you have any other games in that window? Do you have any other thoughts on these afternoon games?
Yeah. The other, I guess, game of interest there that you flashed up, the Pitt Virginia Tech game is of interest to me as well, because as I've said time and again, Virginia Tech truly is good enough to either, and Notre Dame was in a spot like this a couple years ago. It was maddening. So I can totally relate to what Hokies fans are going through. They're in that mode where they're good enough to win by or lose by 1 score in most of their games.
Yeah.
And so the upshoot to that is that every game's interesting. The downside is that it's stressful as sin. So plus 5.5 for Virginia Tech at home. That's one if I were betting there. And I think we had it in our run the board game. I'm on Virginia Tech because I feel like they'll play Pitt close. Pitt's win in week 2 over Tennessee looks good on paper, but it was a different Tennessee team then.
Yeah.
So we just haven't seen them a whole lot against better competition. Not that Virginia Tech's a world beater, but I do think it's another test that should give us a better indication for whether Pitt's for real, because, Pitt's got Clemson in a week. Pitt's got most of its ACC schedule in front of them. They could run the table in the ACC and maybe play in the championship game. Who knows? So I'm curious.
I saw a story about Braxton Burmeister this week that said he's been working on his shoulder. He's at a sore throwing shoulder, and he's been ice therapy and heat therapy and stretching and bands and really trying everything to really loosen that up. And I thought to myself, that's what I do. That's what I do as a washed old man playing tennis. And if Braxton Burmeister is doing something that I relate to athletically, give me Pitt. Give me Pitt big.
Yeah, no, that's a problem, right?
On agreeing with how he is treating his shoulder, because, man, I don't see it. Because you need to score points to beat Pitt. Fact of the matter is, look, Pitt lost to Western Michigan, but Western Michigan scored points. They didn't beat them like Bowling Green beat Minnesota.
No.
They put up 40 plus. And I just don't see that with Virginia Tech. So
no,
I like Pitt comfortably there. After seeing that, that's where I stand. You want to go to comments? What do you want to do? Do you have any more thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, the only other game that I pulled out during our preview was Miami at North Carolina.
Yeah, that could be entertaining TV. I think you should just watch ACC games where nobody has a clear identity, and there's no number of points that seems like an insurmountable lead. It's just like, what is Miami's offense week to week? What is North Carolina's offense week to week? I don't know how you bet on that game.
North Carolina is favored by 7. I don't know how you could bet on that game because
it's in Chapel Hill.
It's in Chapel Hill. We've got two teams that are really struggling right now.
Yeah.
Carolina is still reeling from the fact that most of their team went to the NFL, or most of their big contributors, the big playmakers went to the NFL outside of Sam Howell. So it's pretty much all on him. And on the Miami side, they had De'Aaron King go down. They had Jake Garcia needed the ankle surgery. Now they're starting, they're Tyler Van Dyke, whatever his name is. Both seasons have not quite gone the way we expected. Before the year, we had pulled this game out as potentially one of, if not the biggest games of the week. Clearly that's not going to happen. It's sort of like an afterthought, but
totally with you.
Interested to see how those teams look against one another for sure.
You want to go to some comments?
Let's do some comments.
There's some hotness in the comments. I can't fathom watching Purdue, Iowa when there's literally anything else on, Sarah. It's not a terrible point. Not a terrible point. Somebody replied, Big Ten fans like the pain, Sarah. True. Does Hugh Freeze end up at LSU? I'm going to say no. But you never know. It's a wild sport. I mean, we have Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Like, it's you do whatever you got to do. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think they're going to go after an even bigger name somehow, some way. Miami, North Carolina could be secretly decent. Yes, true.
Look, just because these teams aren't going to come anywhere close to our preseason expectations does not mean that it won't be a good football game.
Right.
It could be a good football game. It's just I don't have any obvious hooks from afar through this lens that we look through on the national level.
Right.
I don't have any reason to tell you and go and watch it, but if we see like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter and it's 38-38, that could still be a very fun watch.
Pitt barely pulled it out against Tennessee, and that was a Joe Milton Tennessee team. They really aren't as good as advertised. Now, doesn't Pitt reserve the right to improve since an early season game? Can't they do that as well? I don't know.
I mean, look, I think Pitt has a lot to prove here in this game. This week and next week in particular. This week on the road in Blacksburg. It will not be an easy game. Next week, they're at home against Clemson. And that will not be an easy game either, even though Clemson, only beat Syracuse by 3. It's still a very good defense. So Pitt against better competition, I think, is one of the outstanding questions that we'll get some answers to as we go into week 8.
Do you know that people are putting in super chats?
I did. I wanted to call out Coy. I wanted to call out Jason.
So what was Coy's super chat?
His super chat was, someone said super chats were broken. Guess not.
So, okay, shout out Coy. Thank you. You rule, because I think you can pay like $5 to get a
He paid
message
$5 to get.
pinned.
Thank you, Coy. That's
And
amazing.
Jason asked me, here, I'll put this up on the screen. Oops. What racket are you playing with these days, Dan? Because I was talking about my sore shoulder in tennis. Okay, Jason, I'm playing with the Babolat Pure Drive, which is a stiffer racket, which means I do have to ice a little bit more. It's a little harder on the arm. And I started using a Prince synthetic string, but that was breaking too quickly because I hit a heavier ball. So I moved on to the Babolat RPM Blast string, getting it strung at about 50, which is a looser tension, but that's to counteract. It's a more durable string, so you don't get as much pop. So I go a little bit looser with it. I've been thrilled with that combination. I'm getting really nice pop from the RPM
Need that pop.
Blast
Gotta have
and
the pop.
the Babolat Pure Drive, which is an incredibly popular racket for good reason. I'm a big fan. And so I've got a couple of those, and it's been good. It's been good. Other than like having to ice my arm a little bit more than usual, but it makes me feel like, as I mentioned, Eldon Campbell icing his arm after a 1993 NBA game with a big old ice pack. So there we are there. Somebody asked about the window graphics, I think. Ty,
Yeah.
did you see that?
I did.
So do you want me to put the window graphic up? Do you want me to put up the video talking about the windows?
We'll
I
put
don't know.
put the window back up. We'll circle back on
All right.
on this afternoon's slate. By the way, the poll that we put out there came back 3 jacked Fowlers for this
3
slate as well. Our boy Connor, who is dutifully in the chat right now and helping us filter out some of these spam messages that are coming in. He has this one scored out on solidverbal.com as Kentucky, Georgia on the big screen, BYU, Baylor on the small screen, and then some combination of Pitt, Virginia Tech, Purdue, Iowa on your small mobile screen, just watching the scoreboard. The Purdue, Iowa game in particular, that point spread feels low to me. I've seen Purdue up close to the extent that I can see any team up close from a TV. Against Notre Dame, left a lot to be desired, but you do wonder if coming off that big Penn State win, Iowa comes out a little bit flat.
I guess, but the way that they win is not with rhythm and momentum on offense, right? That's where I think it suffers, right? Like when the playing uneven is where I think it happens. And I think it happens a lot on offense, that there's not as much fire in the belly. And I get it on defense too, that like you need that fire, you need that effort, whatever. But on offense, like it's the focus. And that's where I think you lose focus in that letdown spot. And that's not how Iowa wins anyway. So I'm good.
Yeah. All right.
I think I'll be fine. By the way, somebody mentioned if we're just going to talk about tennis, we can talk about tennis. We're going to go to the new window in a moment. It's not a humble brag that I break strings. It's that I hit with a lot of spin and it twists them too often. That's all. Okay. Ty, you want to go to the late window? You want more questions?
I do. I want to go to the late window. Let's flash it up there.
All right, here we go. We're going to the late window, folks. There they are, the Lovebirds, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachel Lee Cook. Starkville hosting Alabama, Mississippi State. It's going to be loud. I just wish there were more plays downfield for Mississippi State. That would get me a little bit more excited, more jazzed about that matchup at 7 p.m.
Do you think that's going to be a good game at all? Alabama's favored by 17.5.
Right. I don't know if it'll be good. I think it'll be telltale about Alabama's ceiling to be able to bounce back from a weird loss to A&M, to go on the road once again and take care of business. Like if Alabama comes out and beats Mississippi State 35-13, I'll say to myself, okay, I know who you are. I know where you're going with this Alabama. If it's too close once again, if there's like shades of the Florida win, then I keep up my concern a little bit. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Again, that's sort of
it'll be a challenge for some time.
Yeah, I think so, but I just don't know what to make of. I just don't know what to make of them right now. I really don't.
All right. TCU Oklahoma with all that's swirling around the Sooner program at quarterback and from buildings nearby the practice fields. Any weight that you're putting on the TCU Kendre Miller and Zach Evans running game going against Oklahoma?
Well, Oklahoma Oklahoma's got its flaws, but Oklahoma doesn't have the worst rush defense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So how they fare, the rushing attack from TCU fares against that Oklahoma front will be interesting to me.
Right.
I'm actually more curious in what Gary Patterson dials up to try and confuse Caleb Williams, if in fact he is the guy and the binocular story in the Oklahoma Daily is not bogus. Caleb Williams caught a lot in a bottle last week. There's a lot of lightning in that bottle last week in the Red River Shootout. And so now a week under his belt, presumably more reps in practice, you would expect improvement, but I also would expect that Gary Patterson is going to try and find some way to confuse him. That being said, TCU's defense this year has been a bit of a nightmare, and that's problematic. Oklahoma should win this game. They should win this game. It would not surprise me if this one was closer than expected. I think I saw the line at 13.5. I'd be inclined to go TCU plus the points here.
Damn. Okay. Ole Miss Tennessee is why I'm giving this window 4 out of 5 Jack Fowlers. Okay. I think it's just going to be crazy entertaining. It's at night at Neyland. You've got a home dog. Curious Dog is who I think I recommended for a hot dog in that matchup. I can't wait to watch that. SEC Network. I don't know who's calling this game for the SEC Network. I think that's just awesome primetime television. What do you think?
I think this is a 4 Jack Fowlers window.
Of course.
Because all of these games are interesting on some level. Alabama, Mississippi State. How does Alabama rebound?
Right.
TCU, Oklahoma, maybe a new quarterback for Oklahoma. We'll see.
Dennis Grosel, Boston College.
Dennis Grosel, Boston College. Ole Miss, Tennessee. I think the over-under is like 84, somewhere in that neighborhood. There's a lot of points going to be scored in that one. Then Arizona State, Utah, the Pac-12 after dark game. It's about a pick 'em. One of the things that Travis May pointed out in his sneaky stats column on Tuesday on solidverbal.com was how much more efficient the Utah offense has been with Cam Rising at quarterback in place of Chaz Brewer, our boy, former
right, of course.
And Utah's offense has gotten better. They're obviously dealing with a ton as a team. And, we're able to go out there against USC kind of on the heels of their bye week and take it to the Trojans and kind of show that they're still a team and they're still playing for it. ASU, by the way, has a ton to play for themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With how topsy-turvy the Pac-12 South is. And should also mention ASU is ranked number 18, and I neglected to put in their current rank. NC State also ranked in the top 20. Or I think maybe NC State's 22. Are they 22? Yeah, they're 22.
Yeah,
22. Okay, so yeah, we do have ranked games in those late windows. So I think ASU Utah is going to be a fantastic game. Am I staying up for it? I am not, but I'm very excited to watch it tomorrow morning.
Okay,
I absolutely am. You want to get to questions, comments, any other games in the night window that are singing to you?
So in the night window, Iowa State, Kansas State.
That's right. You are chips to the center for the Clones.
I am all in on the Clones this week. I am all in on the Clones next week. So FanDuel, which is the app that I use,
not a sponsor.
Could be a sponsor, not a sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They give you access to some Week 8 lines as well.
Oh.
And the Week 8 line that they have up for Iowa State is Iowa State at home -5.5 against Oklahoma State. All in on that one, and I'm all in on this one.
You're all in on Iowa State for, I believe, the first time taking down Oklahoma State. I think Matt Campbell's 0 for Gundy.
I'm in. I'm totally in. I think they're better, and I am planting my flag here in saying that Iowa State's still a good team. They made a ton of mistakes, but they beat Kansas. They went on by, and like literally everybody forgot about them. They're not ranked. No one's talking about them. It's still a very good team. We are in Brocktober now, and we know
we are in Brocktober. I specifically, it's going to stick with me forever. I think it was a couple of years ago when Brock Purdy threw at least 3 picks against Oklahoma State, and it was like he had 2 potential game-winning drives that ended with an interception late. It was sort of a Richie Tenenbaum moment for him, if you remember the Royal Tenenbaums when he has a full mental breakdown on Wimbledon center court. So that, to me, is the concern with that matchup, that Oklahoma State has done a pretty sensational job against Iowa State as they've risen up the ranks in the Big 12. So I like your enthusiasm. I respect enthusiasm committing to the bit.
Yeah, one other game here, and then we'll get to comments, and we'll bring in our guest of honor, who I think we
of course
have waiting. UCLA Washington. Game's at 8:30. It's on Fox.
Confusing line.
Extremely confusing line.
Yeah.
Extremely confusing line. Washington favored by 1 point. I don't get it. I don't understand the appeal from the Washington standpoint. I know DTR has been less than desirable, let's say, as of late.
Sure.
For UCLA. And the narrative as it relates to the Bruins is DTR's got to get his act together. Otherwise, his team's going to lose. They need more quarterback play, blah, blah, blah. Get all that. I don't think Washington's that good. I don't think they're good. I think they have a good defense.
No, well,
to some extent.
Their pass defense is good. They've been pushed around up front, as Jeff Schwartz mentioned on Big Boy Bets, and Chip Kelly is always happy to just run it. If the run is there, he is not going to pass it for the sake of passing.
So I don't understand the line there.
Right.
And generally, either when I don't understand a line, I'm either going to steer into it and pick Washington, or I'm going to stay the hell away.
Right.
I'm staying the hell away here because I don't want to have to watch this game and root for Washington. I have nothing against Washington. I just have not enjoyed the previous experiences watching the Huskies this year.
Look for Washington to immediately drive down the field and look like they've turned a corner on offense and then slow it down.
That's the John Donovan way, Dan.
John Donovan way. I think the night window is 4 out of 5 Jack Fowlers, as you can see. We have Army, Wisconsin. Yeah. Not a lot of points are going to be scored there, but it's a very specific game. You mentioned UCLA, Washington. You mentioned Iowa State, Kansas State. We haven't really talked about NC State, Boston College a lot, but that feels very trappy and difficult. NC State as a home favorite at Boston College, at BC. You know, I'm all in. I'm not just half in. I'm fully in on the half. So I just like that matchup. Otherwise, I don't know. There's not a ton, but if we're including the late window, I mean, what we get with Air Force Boise, which is, I think, a 9 Eastern kick. Arizona State, Utah is a 10 Eastern kick. I think there's going to be a lot of entertaining football tonight. And, oh, by the way, we have an Inigo Montoya for you, right?
Oh, we do?
Like your revenge spots, your Inigo Montoya spot. Here we go, right here. We've got Lane Kiffin returning to Neyland.
Oh, that's right.
Boom.
That's right.
How about that?
I'm unprepared. I don't even have my Inigo Montoya sound.
This works.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think the night window is going to be just terrific TV, and I am in. I don't even know what I'm eating yet. I got to figure that out tonight. Would you have an eating plan for today before we get to comments?
I have no eating plan for today. If I could give a call out to some of the folks right now who are in the chat.
Oh, please.
Talking me into Michigan State minus the number on the road at Indiana. You may have saw me playing on my phone. I logged that bet. I'm with you. I'm with our chat. I appreciate that. What do we got here? Greg says Georgia minus 21.5 or Kentucky for the upset. Kentucky's not going to upset.
Beard
Georgia.
on Greg? Wow.
A beard?
Look at that. Yeah.
Look at
that beard on him.
That's a commitment, man. Good for you.
Involved? Georgia minus 3 touchdowns? Or are you going Kentucky?
I go Kentucky plus the points, but I don't think there's an upset here. I didn't think there was an upset last week, mind you, with the Alabama game either. But I don't think Kentucky's got the offense. And even still, this was a 14-3 game last year. 21.5 feels like a lot to me. I am on the over in that game. The over is about 44. Right. I think there will be more than 44 points. So
is there a less fun pick than Kentucky? Like if you were going to bet Kentucky and you're just going to be sweating through your gills watching that game, hoping that it doesn't get out of control. And then if it gets out of control, sweating that they're going to make like a couple interesting drives happen down the stretch to get a backdoor cover. It's just going to be a rough few hours.
Yeah, no, it's a white knuckler, right? You're white knuckling that if you're picking Kentucky. But nonetheless, I still think Kentucky's a good team. I still think they have a good defense. I think they're going to find a way to muddy it up and make it close and get within that number, but would not pick them to win outright. That's a bridge too far for me, man.
We've got XFL Jim talking about appreciating the hot dog shout outs. He's a Hot Link hot dog fan. I always listen. Come on. We have a specific plan here. I realize nobody cares about who wins the Pac-12 South, but does whoever win that ASU Utah game win the division? Feels like Utah is secretly decent now with a promising QB.
What up, Sam?
Yeah. I think so. Yes. What's good, Sam? Yeah, I think it's a terrific matchup. Can't wait to watch it in the morning. Let's see. Ohio State moves to the top 4. Oklahoma falls out.
Could see it.
Sure.
Could see it. We've been preaching at the altar now for at least 2-3 weeks that don't count Ohio State out. Don't count them out. They're getting better. CJ Stroud's been really good since having that week to rest his shoulder. Hasn't been against the toughest of competition. They will play some teams here coming up, but would have no qualms about that whatsoever.
I've got Nathan saying Indiana is a fraud. The thing is, you can't be a fraud unless somebody purports Indiana to be excellent or really good. That's the difference here. I think Indiana is Indiana. Sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're not okay, and hopefully they're entertaining.
Do we want to go to the great state of Indiana?
See, I set you up so well, Ty, and you fell into it perfectly. All right, let's bring in. We got tell Bradley Hoosier is how he's looking right there. Right?
There he is. Look at him.
There he is. Is Indiana a fraud, Bradley, or are they just Indiana?
Indiana is very Indiana, and they're exactly what they were for most of their history.
Sure.
And last year was a little bit different, but that's just not the case right now.
So now, where exactly are you?
Where are you?
I'm in the very back of the press box right now. I believe the Pledge of Allegiance is playing, so I'm not exactly being a dutiful man, but
that's okay.
I'm being a dutiful verbaler. And
wait, Pledge of Allegiance or the Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem?
Star Spangled Banner. I don't know. I mean, they do things interestingly here.
Yeah. Okay, that's okay. So you're covering Michigan State, Indiana. You obviously write for solidverbal.com, and if you have not read Bradley, please do. He's doing a wonderful job. What is the feeling right now in arguably one of the best 8 games happening in the Big Ten today? What's the energy like in Bloomington?
The energy is pretty good. It's homecoming.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have just heard the stadium just getting loud. I mean, I'm right by the upper deck here, but yeah, I think we got Jack Tuttle starting today. That's a glimmer of hope because no matter how underwhelming your backup is, people will always get excited to pull him in over the starter.
Trust me, I know. Yeah.
So I mean, last year is enough hope to burn for seasons upon seasons. Like every game could be that upset. It might never be, but people think it could be.
Ty, do you think it could be?
No. Well, yeah, sure. Of course I do. I mean, we talk about interesting point spreads. That one's 4.5, 4.5. I think it was 3.5. Like it's a tight point spread. So somebody sees something that is of interest. Maybe Jack Tuttle gives him that spark. Michael Penix has not looked right since he came back from injury, and he's been very mistake prone. Bradley, have you tweeted out your today's office pick yet?
I have a little bit too much pride to do that.
Okay.
All right, that's fair enough.
No, today's office is actually right next to the women's restroom, and I'm very precariously angling my camera away from that because I just don't need us to all go down together like
that's
that.
Smart. No, that's smart.
What's the food situation? What's the food situation in the press box today?
Dan, I'm so glad you asked. So week 1, I'm at Iowa City. They have what I would consider a very impressive spread. They had pulled pork sandwiches. They had something on a carving board. I want to say it was a brisket, variety of cookies and sodas and all that. I mean, I love Indian, Hoosiers. Press box is disappointing. It's prepackaged sandwiches. It's cookies from a local joint, which pretty good.
That's good.
Some donuts, which I'm not complaining about, but the spread is lackluster. I mean, you better believe I packed some food for myself just to tide me over.
Is the Iowa spread the best you found this
Without
season?
a doubt, yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is I haven't been to a press box in a long time. Ohio State's at least used to have a McFlurry machine, which was clutch. But also, McFlurry machines, as everybody knows, they break and are broken down all the time. So it's not a dependable press box situation. But they also brought in good barbecue. I remember eating a pulled pork sandwich of some kind there. So I respect it.
Good for you. Last year they just had a Jets pizza, which is fine. It's like C-tier deep dish, but
right.
So,
oh man, I like a carving station. I like that they're going to force sports writers to be like, bring me the end cut as I watch Jack Tuttle and Peyton Thorne. Give me. I want a center cut, please.
Yeah, a lot
Jack Tuttle requires my full protein attention. Yeah.
No, if they had one here, it'd be a lot of well done meat in the Memorial Stadium press box. I don't have a lot of faith in that.
All right, man. Well, look. Do you have a prediction for this game?
Yeah, give us a score.
Game?
To be honest, I think this is one that stays close early. Indiana has a good defense, but when the offense just gives the ball back over and over, I could see this being something where you look up and it's like, oh, 28-10, 35-10. If I had to guess, I would say maybe optimistically 38-17, but I don't know. I just don't trust that offense.
Yeah,
fair enough. You're one of many. I think you're of like mind here. Bradley Hohulin, check him out at solidverbal.com. The article he posted yesterday is how to solve your quarterback controversy, even if you don't have one. It's a fun read, Bradley. Enjoy the game. Enjoy today's office. We hope you eat well, and we'll have to talk to you again sometime soon.
I would love that. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Enjoy. All right. Bradley, Hoosier, Hoosier, in the press box. Did a fantastic job. Ty, any comments, questions? We're nearing kickoff here for the early window. We have a lot of people calling Oregon a fraud, which I wish I could rebut. I couldn't. Oh, Ty, we mentioned the Clemson thing. Did you watch any of Clemson Syracuse and the weird ending there?
I did.
The Carrier Dome is where teams go to die.
It is. 17-14 was the final.
Yeah.
That game was weird, man. It was weird. Garrett Schrader, first off, Sean Tucker rushed for $156, something like that, which felt like a small feat, if I'm being honest, right? I mean, Clemson still got a pretty good defense, even though they're fairly banged up.
Yeah.
So that I thought was important, that they were able to get the job done on the ground to some extent. Garrett Schrader's not really a great passer, really isn't a great passer, but he had a few of those throws in him where he just kind of chucked it, and it worked.
Yeah.
And a guy got wide open. There was a busted coverage, and he was just good enough to get the ball there on time. And that was really the main reason why Syracuse pulled within a score late. They had a run at this thing. It just seems like Clemson spins its wheels on offense. They were outgained in this game by Syracuse, which not a great look. So So
was it more Clemson disappointing or more impressed with Syracuse's improvement? Because Syracuse has clearly improved this year.
They're clearly improved. I still think it's hard to look past the fact that Clemson is this bad on offense. Even with all the injuries they have, Dan, and with all the turnover they had with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne walking out the door, it's just, I can't fathom how they went from where they were over the last 5 years to where they are now so quickly. It's like night and day. And they've got talent. You'll think they'll probably get it back at some point. They'll probably find a way to rebuild, and they'll be fine next year and beat everybody by 1,000. But they're just a shell of their former self right now.
You also have to take into account Dabo doesn't bring in transfers in the way that other big schools do to fill holes, or they're injured, or somebody's disappointing. The back end's disappointing, the offensive line's disappointing, and there are guys in the portal who want to play on bigger stages. And we've seen Alabama thrive. We've seen Oklahoma thrive. Other Ohio State thrive. We've seen these places bring in guys to add depth, to add talent to spots that need it. And Clemson and Dabo specifically is just sort of like that's not a thing we do here. That's not a thing we believe in here.
Yeah.
And as Alabama's starting, Jamison Williams is a big play receiver. As they're starting Henry Toto at linebacker, making plays all over the field.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna start. I think you're right. I think they're going to start because it's just, I don't know, there is something stale about the Clemson program right now, and it's fixable, but I don't know. The cracks are showing to me.
Yeah, and it's so strange too, because I recall, and I don't remember what year this was, but you and I were at Media Day one of the times that Alabama played Clemson.
Right.
And it was very notable, the energy coming off of both those teams when they walked out.
Right.
Alabama was very businesslike, almost corporate. Clemson was definitely lighter and more fun, and it just had a much different feel when they came out and you talked to those players than you did.
They were a program on the rise, obviously, right? They're it's new to them. They were not acting like they had been there before. There was an enthusiasm. Obviously, Dabo had built things brick by brick, and it showed. It absolutely showed. And it's not just getting to the top, it's staying at the top. And that's the difficult thing.
And so now they're at the spot where I'd be very curious to know from those who are close to the Clemson program if it's got that same energy, or what does it feel like right now to be around these players and this coaching staff? Because this is definitely a bit of a rough patch that we haven't seen in quite some time. I don't know how Dabo handles it. There's still a ton of talent. People still want to go to Clemson. They've obviously got the facilities and the infrastructure at large in place to keep this program successful for many years to come. But this year, it's a glitch in the matrix in 2021.
NC State, Wake, or Clemson to win the ACC Atlantic?
I go NC State right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I go NC State. I like Wake. We're Wake watchers on this show. I don't know if you have the graphic.
Oh my God, Ty, do I have the graphic? I always have graphics available for you. Come on, right there.
We are Wake watchers, of course, but I just don't know if I'm fully buying in.
Stupidest graphic I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
All right. You want to get some comments? We've got 5 minutes until kickoff. God, stop talking about Oregon. Here's a good one. Seed or seedless watermelon, Ty?
I don't know.
What?
Whatever.
You don't have a watermelon preference?
No. I'm not a huge watermelon guy.
What about watermelon flavored things? No.
They make some decent watermelon flavored beer, if you can believe that.
No, I like watermelon. I've had a watermelon margarita a few times that was delicious.
Yeah. I think watermelon's it's refreshing, but it's overrated. You get sticky. It's no.
Presented without context. Fart tortillas. I think Cole, Emerging Alpha Cole, mentioned duck fat tortillas. And Hoops responded with fart tortillas.
Fair response.
Good counterpoint. By the way, here's what's on Cole's menu today: brisket, queso, duck fat tortillas, pickled grapes. Who knew such a thing could be pickled? And potato salad. Are you a potato salad guy, Ty?
I love potato salad.
Myself.
Come on, I live in Eastern Pennsylvania. There's a strong German influence here, man. I'm into the potato
salad. Are you getting egg in your potato salad?
Sure. Yeah.
I love it. Well, the thing that matters with potato salad, or that you need to get a good seasoning in there. Otherwise, the potato starchiness takes over and it becomes a little one note. But you get something crunchy, you get something salty.
Yeah, I like it. I like it when the potatoes are a little al dente and not too mushy.
Okay.
And
mustard.
You have to be. What's that?
Mustard in your potato salad?
A little bit, not over the top.
Yeah.
What I would say is I've had far too many potato salads that go overboard with the mayo. Settle with the mayo, guys.
I'm with you. What about a German potato salad, like a warm potato salad?
I prefer it cold, but I'll eat it warm if it's good.
Same.
Yeah, I've had plenty of German potato salads, again, here in Eastern Pennsylvania.
It's a mustard-forward comment section, it appears.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got to do a little egg and mustard for sure, and light mayo or none. Interesting. Ambivalent about Dan's soundboard. Love it, yet I hear you. I'm ambivalent myself, but here's the thing. Ty has had control for so long, and this show is about democracy. It's about various emotions. It's about exploring the creative space. Okay. I really feel like the show has gotten to a new level with my soundboard. I'm sorry to say.
We've gotten some reviews about this out on Apple.
Yeah.
We would encourage all y'all to go on out to us on Apple. There's a link down in the description. If you like the show, if you want to help the show, you can go on out and leave a review for the show. That does really help us reach a new audience. But folks mixed on the soundboard, Dan, as I would fully expect.
I think overwhelmingly people are into it. Is what I have heard. That's what I've seen in the conversation. That's what I saw on the Discord. That's what I've seen on Twitter. That's what I've seen in the email. Like, it's just, I don't know.
I bought the board for you. I picked the board out.
Fully knowing.
I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
I half wondered if you'd figure out how to do it. Not that you're at all, inept at doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've done it, it keeps me on my toes. So I'm a fan.
People are just, Dan's soundboard is great. Look at this. Dan's soundboard is great. Joe, +1 for Dan's soundboard. Curtis, I'm pro Dan's soundboard. Benny, keep the soundboard. Who are we kidding? I love it. I mean,
okay.
I want to hear Home Depot at least twice a week. I don't know what to tell you. The Dan soundboard edition, as he says in the third person continually, has arguably been the jolt 12, 13 years in, other than you obviously leaving your mysterious day job. Ty loves to live, quote, on the edge. More Home Depot, please. Come on, Drew. You know I got you. Sam Strong needs to stay. Connor, Dance is better than Ty's. Hot takes only from Connor.
Don't push me, Connor. Don't push me, man.
Oh my God. Somebody had a pizza question. Do you take pizza slices from the more well-done side of the pizza or the rarer side of the pizza? That's, I guess, if a pizza isn't turned consistently, Ty. Do you like a crispier pizza or do you like a stretchier pizza?
I can give you a perfect answer to this.
I'm ready.
Solid Wife and I, when we make pizzas in the oven, there's a top rack and a bottom rack.
Yeah.
The pizza, and they're small pizzas.
But you make a fake pizza, right?
What's that? Sometimes. I mean, we vary. But the top rack gets crispy. That's for me. The bottom rack doesn't get quite as crispy, and she likes it more on the rare side.
Right.
So I like it. I like a little bit of a crisp, not burnt, but a little bit of a crisp.
Okay. I tend to make my pizzas pretty well done. I have a cheese melting strategy. That means that the cheese doesn't over crisp. I just like that you have a good base and just minimal flop to the crust itself.
Minimal flop is very important.
Minimal flop, important in life, important in pizza, as we all know. Good luck to everybody today. Go Cats from Jared, who appears to be a Kentucky fan. I would love if Kentucky just gave Georgia all it could handle. That would be a great thing. Dustin, I'm pro soundboard until he adds the Applebee's commercial. Best sound, still from Ty's soundboard. Long live guess who just got murdered. Well, guess who sent that sound to Ty when he didn't have a soundboard of his own. Yes, I was a Brooklyn Nine-Nine super fan. And so Ty wields that sound quite impressively and expertly. So here we are. Look,
here we are.
Great teams cover. That's a message to continue out through the day. Ty, anything to add and to close this out?
Solidverbal.com is the website. Go out and check out our podcast. Also, don't forget to go on altuverballers.com if you want more info on the Patreon that we have up and running, and we'll be teaming with college football fans on our Discord all throughout the course of today. For those of you who are watching along at home, if you've got anything you want to get off your chest as you're watching the games, 408-VERBAL-1.
Yeah.
That is 408-837-2251. We mix all those voice messages together into a 3 to 4 minute segment that we call the Reverbs, and we play that as part of our recap broadcast that hits the public airwaves on Monday morning. For our Patreon subscribers, you can get it on Sunday afternoon. That's all I got.
I have nothing to add. I got to figure out what I want to eat today. I have to make some dough balls because I have to make pizza tomorrow for a bunch of 2.5-year-olds, friends and parents. I was roped into that. And yeah, our old friend Katie the Capper had a third kid. And that's what I gift people who have children. That's what I gift people who create humans.
All right.
A 16-inch pepperoni and garlic and spicy honey.
It's very thoughtful.
Right? That's
very thoughtful.
The least I could do. That's all.
All right, again.
Enjoy your week 7. How about that?
You too. We appreciate everybody watching along at home. Please enjoy your Saturday and your entire weekend. Do stop by again, solidverbal.com. Next couple days, we'll do our week 7 recap.
Yes,
Stay
sir.
solid.
Peace. I love